Can your 4-year-old niece or nephew beat you in arm wrestling? At the house, when it's time to open a new jar of pickles, do you have to ask your spouse to open it up for you? If you answered yes to both of these questions, you need to watch this video. Hi, I'm Dr. Joe DeMarco, chiropractor and owner of OcraMed Health, and today's video is on how to build up your forearms. Now, most people in general do not have particularly strong forearms. Reason being, most people do not perform any regular strengthening exercises for their forearm. A lot of people believe if they exercise, they're working their forearms just by exercising. To a certain extent, that's true. But if you're lifting weights and you don't lift particularly heavy weights, or when you do work out and you do decide you're going to lift something on the heavier side, if you're using what we call straps, which is a device a lot of people that lift weights use, it goes around the wrist, and then this part of it wraps around the particular bar that you're lifting, gives you an excellent grip. But when you go to lift something heavy, if you're using a pair of straps, then you're taking your forearms out of the picture and you're not working your forearms. So it's great, you can lift a little heavier weight, but then again, your forearms aren't getting any exercise. So you need to do some specific exercises that target your forearm. And that's what I'm going to show you today. Quick story, I remember when I was a kid, the reason I got into working and performing forearm exercises, I'll never forget when I was about 12 years old, my older brother, his friend was on the gymnastics team and he had big arms and forearms. And I remember I was being a pain one day, teasing him. And when he left, he shook my hand to say goodbye, and he knew what he was doing, because when he shook my hand, he absolutely crushed my hand. And I mean, I'm not kidding. It was sore for about 2 weeks. I thought he broke a couple bones in my hand. And I remember after that, I went out and I bought these hand grips. And this is actually I still have these hand grips. They have to be well over 40 years old now. All I've done over the years is just retape them. And I exercise with these hand grips along with other forearm exercises for weeks and weeks and months until I made sure that was never going to happen to me again. So these type of devices are great to use for just general grip strength. They have different resistances you can buy. This was a very old pair. I think at the time this was probably the one that you would get, that there wasn't any different resistance tensions. But now, these days you can get different resistance tensions on these. So look something like that up. They're excellent to have. But what I'm going to show you today is an exercise that you can use. You can actually make it at your house to build up your forearm strength. It is nothing more than a wood dowel. And I'll show you how to make this. You can make one yourself. If you go on my website, very shortly we're gonna carry a model similar to this. If you don't feel like making it yourself, you can visit my website, www.OcraMedHealth.com, if you want to pick one up. But if you want to take the time to make one, you just take a wooden dowel, you drill a hole through it, put a rope through it, and on the other end of the rope, you just get on some type of carabine. And with this, you can actually take some type of a plate. You just run it through, hook it back onto the rope. So now this is dangling in front of the unit. And I'm going to show you how you use this forearm exerciser. It's one of the best ways to work your forearms. All right, so let me show you how we're going to use this exerciser. We're going to have this thing, we're going to unroll it so that the weight goes down to the ground. Now, if you look at this exercise, I'm going to bring it a little closer to the camera. There's two ways this can be rolled up, is with the dowel where you're turning it this way and it's rolling up this direction, or you can turn it around and it's going to roll up in the opposite direction on this side. And the reason I'm showing you that is because we can work both sides of our forearm depending on which way we have this thing rolling up. And so if I want to work this part of my forearm here so that I'm doing this motion, I want the rope to be on the front of the dowel. So it's going to be on the front. So I'm going to be, if I start with it like this, I'm going to be starting to turn the dowel in this direction so that the rope is actually on the front end, so that I'm making turns in this position. So I have the arms out straight like this. The rope is actually in front of the dowel, and so to move the weight up, I'm making this type of a motion with my forearm. So just like that, I'm going one at a time as I'm twisting this dowel. I have my arm parallel to the floor, and I'm just squeezing the dowel, and I'm bringing it all the way up in this manner. So I'll show you from the front. So because of the way it's rolling up, I'm working the muscles, my extensor muscles, by pulling my forearm this way. And I'm going to come all the way up till the weight comes up to the top, at which point I'm not going to just let it come flying back down. I'm going to lower it now in a controlled manner. So I'm really squeezing the dowel as I lower it. I'm going to lower it very slowly. So because of how long it takes to raise the weight up and raise the weight down, it does not require a whole lot of weight on the end of this rope to get a really good workout. I would recommend starting off very lightly, and what you want to do is try to build up till you can go up and down 5 times, at which point then add a couple pounds of weight. You don't want to make big jumps in weight. You're not going to be able to go from 10 pounds to 20 pounds right away. Make small jumps with the weight once you get to about 5 repetitions. Now, to work the opposite muscles of the forearm, instead of having this rope in front like this, I'm going to turn it around. So now this rope is closer to me, and because of that, instead of doing this motion, I have to do this motion to raise the weight. So now I'm flicking down to roll the rope back up. So now I'm working a different part of my forearm to raise the weight up like that. And then same thing, I'm going to lower it in a controlled manner. So rolling it this way, I'm making my arm work. I'm using more of my flexor muscles. I'm actually turning the dowel this way. When I turn it in the opposite direction, I'm going to flick up, and I'm going to work more extensor muscles. So keep that in mind. And we're going to do 5, want to work up to 5 sets in each direction. So 5 sets with it this way, then turn the exerciser around and go 5 sets the opposite direction. As you can see, this is a great exercise, not just for your forearm, but you're holding the weight out. It's working your arms, your shoulders. It's great. But in particular, it's going to burn your forearms. Okay, so after you do some repetitions with an overhand grip, then an underhand grip while you're standing up, then roll the weight all the way up to the top onto the dowel. Sit down in a chair like this. Rest both forearms over your knees so that your hands are hanging off the knees in this direction, and go about shoulder width apart. And now from this position, we're going to do some wrist curls with a reverse grip like this. And you may need to use a different weight. This position might feel a little stronger, so add a little extra weight. But I'm going to do this for high reps, probably in the 15 to 20 rep range. So I'm going to make sure I have enough weight on so that I'm working it by the 15th or 20th rep. I'm going to go like that, 3 sets. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn my forearms into this position, and same thing, I'm going to just grip underhand. I'm going to let the wrist drop down about shoulder width apart. I'm going to let the wrist drop down, and I'm just going to do forearm wrist curls in this position with the device. And once again, 15 to 20 reps. Just adjust the weight. Use whatever you as an individual, depending on your particular strength at the time, whatever you need to use so that you can get a real good burn after 15 or 20 reps. So we've done 3 sets of 15 to 20 this way, 3 sets of 15 to 20 this way. Then what I'm going to do with this is I'm actually going to hold the device in this position like this. So I'm right near the rope here. I'm going to let it hang off. And what I'm going to do, and this might be a position where you're going to need to drop the weight down, and I'm going to do this type of an exercise to work a little different part of your forearm. So I'm going to come up like this. Once again, 15 to 20 repetitions. I'm going to show you the angle that I'm at here. Just like that. So I have my hand in this position, right near where the rope is with the weight, and I'm going to do 15 to 20, 3 sets. 3 sets this way, 3 sets this way, 3 sets in this position like that. So give that a try. Okay, so build yourself one of those forearm exercises, or go to my website, www.OcraMedHealth.com, if you want to grab one. Build up those forearms. Don't ever let your 4-year-old niece and nephew beat you in arm wrestling again. And don't ever let anyone crush your hand on a handshake. These are the type of little things we work at OcraMed Health on our 90-day fitness program. So if you're interested, go to my website, www.ocramedhealth.com. My ebook of heavy weight training is also available on my website. It's called the Accommodation Avoidance System. It's a way to train heavy and not hit training plateaus on your heavy basic movements. If you're enjoying these videos, please subscribe to my channel, OcraMed Health on YouTube. Questions about exercises or injuries, just leave a comment in the comment section below. I always get back to everyone who writes in. And don't forget, OcraMed Health is here to keep you fit forever.